Hi guys, it's Emily from Novel Novels and welcome to today's video. This is my May book haul. I make sense in the end. So, I've been good. I bought less than 30 books. I've bought 24 books. And only 2 were from Waterstone, so only 2 very full price. So that's good. But then I've been gifted 7, so I've kind of got to 31 books. Yeah. It's been a good month. I have had, as you would have, but you've seen some of these books probably on the Spoonies blogs. I did go to Maidenhead Marlow once. I've done a couple of trips to town, and yeah, I've been gifted 7. So that's not been a bad month. It's been a very Spoonies month. I've had some things that make me smile. I've chosen books that have made me smile, so I am quite happy with them. I don't want to talk too long about rambling before we even show them, because otherwise this video is going to be long and I'd like to do some reading. So let's show you the books that I've been gifted first, and I will talk a little bit about each book. Not too much. So the first one is one that Olivia from Olivia's Catastrophe was giving away, and she said that she asked anyone if they wanted it, and this was The Last Act of Love by Kathy Rentzenbrink. I read her book about books, and she is one of Alice from Alice in the Giant Bookshelf's favourite authors. This is non-fiction one that apparently will destroy me, because I think it destroyed Alice if Alice read it, if not. But it's about when Kathy was 17, her brother Matthew, her best friend, was involved in an accident and he was knocked down by a car and never walked or spoke again. 8 years later he died. So this is a true story of a happy family ambushed by loss. This one will destroy me, but it's one that I really wanted to read because, see, maybe it might be, I'm worried it's slightly going to be close to home because I did get hit by a car, but I have heard this is supposed to be really good, so I'm really excited. I will count up my genres soon. Then, as a surprise, the lovely, absolutely amazing Cat from Brews and Reviews, although all my booktubers friends are amazing, all my friends are amazing. This is The Invisible Kingdom, Reimagining Chronic Illness Again by Megan O'Rourke. Now, Kat read this for the Spoonies Readathon, and she listened to it on audiobook, I believe, and I was like shocked at how expensive it was. So the fact that this arrived, she didn't send me a gift note, or at least either that or Amazon is just not sending gift notes. That's why I'm getting all these anonymous gifts. Amazon are not sending gift notes. But this is a non-fiction book on chronic illness, and apparently Kat said it was absolutely incredible, and she really felt seen when she read it. And it is an American book, but apparently that's probably why it's quite expensive. But it is apparently tackling chronic pain really well, so I'm very, very grateful for that. Grateful for all my books. Then Danny from Danny's Book World sent me a couple of belated birthday presents, which is I'm so excited about. I love my birthday going on for longer. And the first one she sent me was the East End Angels Together Again, which is like I think it's almost like a novella, because it's only just over about 140 pages. I've read the whole series by this author and I absolutely loved it, so I'm looking forward to going back to like 3 years after the war ended and find out what happened to these characters. So that's a really good book. Then she got me the first in this series. This is the one, I can't remember what the series is called, but I love Things We Never Got Over. I need to get Things We Hide from the Light first before I read this, because this is the third in the series, and this is about Lucina Rollins. So it's his story. We met him briefly we met him a little bit in the first book, and it's his romance with Sloane Walton, who was another character in the first book. So I really need to read the second one, get the second one, and then read this, because this I absolutely loved. I didn't expect to love Things We Never Got Over as much, but you would have seen it in my review. I absolutely loved it so much, so I cannot wait to get to this. It is very big though, but I can't wait to get to it. So thank you, Danny. Then this was one that technically kind of got to me in April, but because I'd already filmed my April book haul, I had to put it on May. And this is Aya and the Star Chaser by Radia Hafisa. I absolutely loved Rumi Malaysia. I've also got the second book in the Rumi Malaysia series. So this was an anonymous gift. It's a short but sweet fantasy. Aya, an ordinary girl with powers out of this world. Aya has always been fascinated by the stars. Then one night, after sneaking out to stargaze with her best friend Nazine, she's struck by one. And then she gets magical powers. Oh my god. Apparently this weaves classic fairy tales with elements of Bengali folklore. Sounds amazing. Cannot wait to read that. That's middle grade. Then another one of the anonymous gifts was Becoming Ted by Matt Cain. I absolutely loved The Secret Life of Albert Entwistle by this author, and this is LGBTQI plus, and it's got a great rep apparently. Someone reviewed it on Instagram ages ago. But it's about Ted Ainsworth, who's always worked on his family's ice cream business in the quiet Lancashire town of St Luke-on-Sea. But in truth, he's never wanted to work for the farm. He doesn't even like ice cream. But then when Ted's husband suddenly leaves him, the bottom of his world falls out. And then he basically has another dream, a secret dream. Since childhood, he's always wanted to be a drag queen. So this looks amazing. I know my sister Charlie wants to read it after me, so I'll be reading that and then she can read it. And talking of Charlie, I've been nagging her for this book. She told me she was giving me this book ages ago, and I nearly bought it on the last London trip. This is Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. Now, this was a book that was recommended to me by the lovely Kirsten from Reading Nymph, and I love Kirsten. She's absolutely amazing. She's got another book in here that's been inspired by her, and it's like fairies, and it's fantasy, and its lead character is called Emily, so I have to read it. Emily Wilder is good at many things. She's a genius scholar and a meticulous researcher who is writing the world's first encyclopedia on fairy lore. But Emily Wilder is not good with people. This is the first in the series. If I like this one, I'm going to carry on the series. But it's like, it just looks gorgeous, and I really can't wait to read it. So it's like a fantasy book. I don't know where I'm going to put that one. I need to get like a fantasy shelf on my bookshelves because I'm getting rid of all my thrillers. I'm just keeping mysteries. You'll see why in a bit. I'm keeping mysteries, but I'm getting rid of my thrillers, so maybe I might, in that shelf, put some fairy ones as well. I don't know yet. I might have to work. I need to reorganise my bookshelf, which is quite exciting. Now to the two books I did buy full price at Waterstones, and I'm hoping we're not going to hear noise now because Chris has just arrived back. And that was, the first one was a book I pre-ordered from Waterstones. That is The Temple of Fortuna by Elodie Harper. This is the third in the series. I'm reading in June The House with the Golden Door, and I've waited long and hard for this. I wanted to have them all in paperback because I've got The Wolf's Den in paperback, and I wanted to read the whole series in paperback. But I didn't want to read The House and the Golden Door until I had this on hand, because otherwise I hate waiting. I hate waiting for, like, if it leaves on a cliffhanger, I need the next book. So why don't authors do that? Why'd they leave us on cliffhangers and make us wait for ages? So this is the third in the story, so I don't want to know too much. Amara's journey has taken her far from the lowly slave trade, and then she's caught up in a political scheming with the Imperial Palace. Don't want to know too much. Well excited. Fantasy. I love my fantasy. And talk about fantasy. I stupidly didn't keep all of this series. This is the next one apparently in the Percy Jackson series, and I stupidly didn't keep it. And then I saw this in Waterstones. I nearly bought it in the works for like £5, and then I got it at Waterstones on offer, and oh my gosh, look at it. It's Nico's story. Now Nico was like a sort of bad guy. He was surprised at the end, and it's his romance with Will Solis, and who's the son of the Apollo, who's the god of light, and Nico's the son of Hades, I believe. And they're trapped in the underworld. And I love Percy Jackson. So when I finish the Heroes of Olympus series, I'm going to read this. Stunning! Absolutely stunning. What's happened to me? I'm now turning fantasy. But it has to be like YA or middle grade fantasy. But I bloody love it. Although that Emily Wilde's one that's like adult fantasy. There's different kinds of fantasy. I'm getting there. Kirsten, you will be proud of me, okay? You will. Then on a completely different note, on audiobook, I don't know if I told you that I was listening to The Bomber Girls on audiobook by Vicky Beebe. I should include my audiobooks on here. And then I wanted the next book in the series, and I saw this at the works for like £2.50. I was like, I'm having that. And this is the sequel to that one. So there is Wedding Bells, but I can't tell you whose the wedding bell is because it gives you sneaky peeks. Guys, can you be quiet, please? I can hear something. The joys of half term. And this is RAF Denport. Instrument repair. Thea is helping her sister Pearl plan a wedding. I'm not going to tell you who it's to, because that will give you a kind of spoiler for the other book. But then she also meets Flight Sergeant Fitz, who makes a point of befriending and standing by her. This looks good. So it's basically Thea's story and her romance, and it looks really good. I love historical fiction. I've not got very many historical fiction this month. And then talking about mystery and thriller, I count this more as a mystery than thriller. And this is the third in the Good Girls Guide to Murder series, because I love the Good Girls Guide to Murder. I've got the Good Girl Bad Blood, and I treated myself to this on the ABE books. Sometimes I do that. Sometimes if I'm impatient, I look on ABE books, and this wasn't too much on there. It's less than full price. Although I bloody found it in the works for like less than what I spent on the bloody ABE books. I'm well annoyed. They didn't have ABE books. I thought, oh, I was getting impatient, because that's what you guys know what I'm like. And then yeah, I'm annoyed at myself. Sometimes I get too impatient. It's my own fault. But this is about Pip Fitz-Amobi, who's haunted by her last investigation. But this new case finds her, and this time it's all about Pip. Don't want to know any more than that. Bloody love the first book. We'll be reading the second. I think I count this more as mystery than thriller. Do I get away with that? I don't know. Since when do I do things normally? Oh, I've just realised I'm putting that there. I like to separate my books here so I know how many books of each genre I've got. But yeah, I count that as mystery, not thriller. That's my jam anyway. Then to the books. The rest of the books are charity shop books, or like car boot sale or things like that. So yeah, got a few now. Don't want this to be too long. So I read the first one of this series. This is The Catcher, and I read the first book, which was Set on You. I've got X's and O's, and I wanted the third book, but I've got to wait until I can get Cat the other two books, because I want to be carrying on the series with Cat. And this is basically Melanie's story, who we met in the first book, and she is meeting apparently a birdie fisherman called Evan Waller. The boating accident lands Evan in hospital, and Mel is mistaken for his fiance. Does this have disability? But I found it for like £1, I think it was. So I was not complaining. This was only been recently released, so good old contemporary, quite cheap and cheerful. I didn't love the fat phobia representation in the first book, but I did like it, so I thought I'd carry on the series. So you know me, once I start a series, I've kind of got to finish it. Then to another historical fiction book which I found on my Marlow trip, and this was actually Mandy Rowbottom's latest book. It has got a very cracked spine, which I'm a bit like, this new book and it's got a cracked spine. I don't like that. But it's set in Hamburg in 1946, so the war is over and Germany's in ruins. And I don't know, it's like to do with a bombed out city, and he discovers a violinist who plays amongst the wreckage. It's a story, it's got the word storyteller in it. It's Mandy Rowbotham, historical fiction. I know I'm going to love it. Didn't need to know more than that. Then I've got another fantasy. The King's Cage by Victoria Avard. I've read the first book, which was The Red Queen. I've got The Glass Sword, and I found this. I should have also bought the fourth one in the series, because you know me, I like to complete a series, but this is again another series book, and it's about Mayor Barrow, who is prisoner apparently in this book, and now King Mavon continues weaving his red magic. Don't want to know too much because it's another like third in the series. But it's fantasy. What's going on? It's 4 fantasies. That's not too bad, is it? I think you'll see that most of this is contemporary fiction though. Then I've got another contemporary which I bought in Marlow, Ellie and the Heartmaker. I read one of the books by this author, I think Away with the Penguins, and I've seen this in charity shops over the years. I think it's only like a couple of years old, but I did like this author's works, and it was one that I've been tempted by so many times, and I finally thought, I think this one didn't cost me too much. I think this one was, I'm not going to tell you the price of all of them because all this adds up, but when I find bargains, I think it's quite cool. It's like $1.99. I found a similar sort of price to what I probably would have paid before. And this is, when we meet Ellie, she's perfectly happy living in quiet life with her husband Clive, happy to wander the Exmoor countryside and write the occasional poem. Oh, that's good. And then she's happy to dream of all the things she hasn't managed to do. Or is she? And then meet Dan, who thinks he has all he needs is the time and space to make harps in an isolated barn on Exmoor. He prefers being on his own, far from other people, and crucially away from away from any risk of surprises. But then they meet and they don't know that their chance encounter is about to change everything. Looks really good. I'm just trying to keep my piles safe. Right, there you go. And then I've got another non-fiction book, which I thought was actually historical fiction, but it's actually turned out to be non-fiction, and it would count for the Spoonies. It's non-fiction. If you would have seen our live, I actually liked it. I bought it because the author's name is Deborah Cadbury, and it's got like Nazis in it, so it's wartime non-fiction. And then this is about, I think I've spoken about it in loads of videos, so I won't go into too much detail, but they're mostly Jewish children who escaped found haven in Anna's new school, a rundown manor in the house in the southern England, until the outbreak of war in 1939 raises terrifying new dangers. Despite her growing blindness, Anna continued to rescuing children throughout the war. Many had lost their families and witnessed unimaginable horrors, but she's determined to instill the belief in all that under her care that there is still life worth fighting for. Really doesn't excite me. Then, for all of you that know me, I am a massive DDM fan, a massive Daphne du Maurier fan. I've pretty much got all her books, and I'm collecting all her books, and this is Julius by her. It's one of the only ones I didn't have. DDM, didn't need to know much more, and it's about Julius Levy, who grows up in a peasant family in the village on the banks of the Seine. I can't say it properly. A quick-witted urchin caught up in the Franco-Prussian War, and he's forced by tragedy to escape to Algeria. I don't need to know this. It's a chilling story of ambition, and it's her third novel. And it's Virago Magdalen Classics edition, which is also what I'm collecting. I'm collecting certain editions by her. Anyone that looks pretty, but this does look pretty, and it's not, and the spine's in quite good condition, so quite like that. And the next one, you can all laugh at me. I know diddly squid about it. It had the word cat, had a beautiful copy. It was literally a cat book. Apparently it's short stories from Tokyo, and it's about a stray cat is winding her way through the back alleys, and with each detour she brushes up against a seemingly desperate lives of city dwellers. It's short stories, which I don't really like, but it looks fun, and it's got the word cat in it. Talk about random as hell. I do try and find random. I don't even know what this is, like genre, so I'm not going to count that as my genres. And then to another random one. This is Juliet Takes a Breath. This was like a 20p on offer at my charity shop, and it's LGBTQI romance, and it's about Juliet's head is spinning with questions, with her beautifully chaotic Puerto Rican family still love her when they find out she's gay. Looks fun, cheap as chips, and it actually had good reviews on Goodreads, so I thought that would be fun. Then to another book that was in my Marlowe Maidenhead trip, We Are All Made of Stars by Rowan Coleman. You know I love this author. One of her books is one of my favourites for the year. And this is Stella Curry exists in a world of light. Married to an ex-soldier, she leaves the house every evening as Vincent locks himself away along with his scars and the secrets he carries. During her nursing shift, she writes letters to loved ones, and it looks amazing. Then to another book that I got in... Mia, if you pulled the door to, sorry. This video's got a bit of randomness. And this is one I found on my car boot sale, and this is A Very French Wedding. Looks summery, it was very cheap and cheerful, had good reviews. And I think this author had good reviews on Goodreads. Steph, Joe and Meredith have been friends since school. Their lives have taken very different paths across the years. But when Meredith buys a romantic chateau in the idyllic village of Dordogne, she finds she can't do it alone. And then she lists her old friends. Summary book will be read soon. I think I just fancied like a contemporary binge, because that's where my head's at the moment. Then I've got a Christmas book, completely the opposite. But this is, again, the author's by Emily Stone. I don't know if I've read any of her books before, but this had, again, good reviews, and this was found like really cheap. And so I'm saving this for Christmas. I think I figured out that some gifts in life are the ones you don't expect. And then, for as long as Cassie can remember, it's been the three of them. Cassie, her big brother Tom, and Tom's annoying best friend Sam. Now Tom is sorted, Sam is flying high, and Cassie thinks that she's figured it all out. And then 3 becomes 2. Oh my god, this is going to destroy me. Then to another historical fiction book that I found in the car boot sale. I only bought 2 books from my car boot sale, which was very good. An Island Promised by Patricia Wilson. This had great reviews. It's historical fiction. It's during the Nazi occupation of Athens. Daphne, a young Jewish artist, finds herself under threat. She's in love with an Austrian art teacher, and together they must put it all together to help escape To escape, his cousin, an SS officer, pursued across Greece. Their journey leads to them to Corfu. Historical fiction. That's the first book that I'll show you by the same author, because I did buy another one. And then another book, I can't remember where I got this. This is The Farmhouse of Second Chances, Farmhouse Summer by Helen Rolfe. And I believe this has got good reviews on everywhere. And Joy has made a family for herself, but she's turned her beautiful old farmhouse into a safe haven for anyone who's looking for new beginnings. She's always ready with a kind word and a nugget of advice, and believes that anyone can change their life for the better if they really want to. Then to another fantasy, but this is what middle grade fantasy. This is the second in Abby Elphinson's series, and this is The Shadow Keeper. I bought The Dream Snatcher, and this is the second one. I don't know if it's a series or what, but this is about Mole Pecksmith and her friends are living as outlaws in a secret cave, and it's to do with the Dream Makers, I believe. I don't want to know too much, but it's middle grade, and I think Chatty recommended it. Then to another one, I loved Rachel Again by Marion Keyes. I listened to it on audiobook, so I wanted to go back and start the series from the start. And this is Watermelon. I think this is the first in the series, and it's about the water. So I need to go and read them all, but I need to read them kind of in order. I think I want to try read them in order. So I've got this one, and this is about Claire Walsh's story. And when on the day she gives birth to her first child, Claire Walsh's husband James tells her he's having an affair and now is the right time to leave. And then, yeah, this is about their family. It's the Walsh series. I can't wait to go back from the start and really read it. I love Marion Keyes' books. Then to another one that I'm blaming my boss at Baz Books for. This was on sale for 20p. It's contemporary. It's a trip of a lifetime. It had quite good reviews on Goodreads. Again, this one's set in Australia and Ireland, I believe. Family saga, sort of family things. Nola Quinlan is off on the jet trip of a lifetime, taking her beloved granddaughter and great-granddaughter with her. After more than 60 years after emigrating to Australia, she's keeping a secret promise to return to the Irish homeland. Family thing. Trips. Well, looking forward to it. Then to another non-fiction book I bought at Baz Books is The Code-Breaking Sisters, The Secret of War. Code-breaking I find interesting. Wartime I find interesting. Sisters, had to have it. Non-fiction, I find that all fascinating. Oh my goodness. Then to the next Patricia Wilson book that I only recently bought, and this one was another one. Once I get into an author, I think they look really good, and this one's another wartime one. It's partly set in 1944. In the darkest days of the war on the island of Rhodes, now it's time to unlock the truth. Urgent news from a strange family calls Rebecca Newman back to the beautiful island of her birth, and she realises how little she knows of her grandmother and her past. Her baba has never spoken of the Nazi occupation, but there has always been whispers. Don't need to know anymore. That's pretty good. Then, to like I said about mysteries and thrillers, I finally started on the Thursday Murder Club. I've been intrigued by it for ages, but when I've watched Kirsten's video, she's really talked about it a lot, so I thought I'd have to start the series. It's like mysteries, and it's not supposed to be scary because it's an older protagonist in a beautiful retirement village. Everyone knows about this series, so I thought I'd try the first one. If I like it, I'll carry on the series. Then last but not least, I found a book in the wheelchair charity shop near me, and that is After I Do by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I'm collecting and reading all of this author's works. I believe this is one of her earlier books, and it's quite a pretty copy. And it's a breathtaking novel about modern marriage, the depths of family ties, and the year that one remarkable heroine spends exploring both. Don't want to know any more than that. Taylor Jenkins Reid. Gotta be good. So, right. I am trying to think. No, before I do the emoji and all that lot, let's count up how many genres I've got. So I've got 5 fantasy, 1 short story. No, technically actually 6 fantasy, because that's fantasy. So that's 6 fantasy, 2 mysteries and thrillers, 2 mysteries, that's what I'm counting, 4 non-fiction, 1 classic, 5 historical fiction, Right, let's go over all this. And then 1, 2, 3, 9, 10, 12 contemporaries. That's not too bad. I'm quite happy with that. I know it's like more than double the contemporaries has been my main jam this month, but I'm really happy with how beautiful these books are and everything else. Now, what are these books am I excited about, and what emoji can I do? I think I'm going to have to do it again because 2 of the books have got stars on them. If you've got to the end of this video, leave me a star emoji because Aya and the Star Chaser, and then we are all made of stars. So if you've got to the end of the video, leave me a star emoji. And let me know what books you've been excited about that you bought this month. Let me know in the comments down below any of these that you think I should prioritise. I am well excited by them. Really, really can't wait. And I would love talking to you in the comments. Thank you all for being absolutely amazing. And thank you whoever is sending me these gifts. I am truly grateful for each and every one of you. And I hope you all have a lovely day. Or had a lovely day because I remember this going for 6. You know what I mean? Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. If you're new to my channel, not subscribed yet, ring on my ding-a-ling. And I'll see you all soon. Bye-bye.